There is nothing wrong with your internet. Do not attempt to adjust your settings. We are controlling the podcast. We control the squealing and the screams. We can make your heart flutter, your eyes blur from tears, or sharpen your mind to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit back. We are in control of what you hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your settings. You are about to experience the awe and mystery known as the female mind. You are now entering the Fangirl Zone. Hello everyone and welcome to SyFy Talk in the Fangirl Zone, a podcast where we discuss shows on the SyFy channel. I'm Sean, Fangirl S.
And I'm Steve, and tonight we'll be discussing episode 10 of season 1 of Ghost Wars.
This one is getting so good. Like,
it really is.
I was not sure where they were going with some of this, so it's crazy too.
Yes.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So, Steve, why don't you hit us with the ratings?
All right. Episode 10 had a 0.05 in adults 18 to 49 with 0.289 million viewers, making it the 135th cable show of the day. But I do have some good news. The Live Plus 7 for episode 8 tied for 16th in viewers percentage gain, going from 0.251 to 0.469 million viewers for an increase of 87%.
That's really good.
So that Live Plus 7s, they may not be in the top 25, but people are tuning in and catching it in the Live Plus 7s, getting as close to that 500,000 viewers per episode. So that is awesome.
It is. You know what? I think this is why a lot of shows take a break during the holiday season.
Right.
Because they know so many people have got 10,000 things happening at once. Now, unfortunately, one of my shows takes a really long break.
Right.
Like 7 weeks, but that's a bit much. But, I mean, at the same time, I do like that it keeps going because then you're not waiting this long time for the rest of the show.
Right.
So, I don't know, I'm kind of torn. I'm just hoping that they don't cancel it because of the ratings. And I really do hope that they're looking at it going, you know, that time of year, yeah. But we haven't heard anything yet. And that worries me too.
Right. When we got the announcement that Van Helsing had been renewed, I tweeted out, and next needs to be Ghost Wars and Superstition. Thank you very much.
Yes. Oh, it's so weird how some of the stuff, it kind of seems to have like a really great following.
Right.
And then like the numbers just aren't covering that. So
yeah.
Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. So let's jump into episode 10, The Pain Connection. Lambda's attempt to experiment on their confiscated pod goes awry when a grotesque Paulo emerges from the ghost vessel and unleashes havoc on anything in his path. A monster hunt begins. So, yeah, maybe grabbing one of those pods wasn't the best thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Because, of course, we know that in the burning house, there was a ton of the pods and only one survived.
Yes.
And they managed to take that back to Lambda, and Father Dan seen them. I still don't understand how Father Dan wasn't spotted.
Right.
Because he was behind a very bare bush tree. Yeah, I don't know. It was like, really? You can't see him standing there? Okay. So then we have Roman and Winston going door to door, checking on, you know, if anybody's still alive out there. And it's kind of interesting because we had seen in a previous episode red X's on houses and we didn't know why.
Right.
Now we know. They're going to check if they're dead. They put an X on it. Now they're like at the one house, and I can't remember the name. I'm sorry. And they go to check, and Roman is just like, yeah, I seen him yesterday.
Right.
And Winston was just like, no. I seen him at 8 o'clock. It's fine. He's alive. And he's like, no. Why do you think Roman is lying? I mean, I understand it's your friend, but especially when Winston goes in and comes back out, and I thought he was going to hurl.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, that was horrible. And he's like, told you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not doing this just because.
Yeah. I think, Roman is still pretty miffed at everybody for all the lies.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he's not going to do anybody any favors anytime soon, at least.
Yeah. Well, especially, Winston being kind of shitty later. But he's
Right.
like, Billy and Norm should be doing this. I don't know why I'm doing it. He's like, 'cause they're looking for Apollo?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then grumble. All right, fine. Nice. And over at Lambda, Daphne, God, is it just me? I want to punch her in the face.
No, not at all. I think everybody does.
Because her and Dr. Clark are watching them open the pod, and there's Paolo. Which that pod was awful flat originally.
Right.
To suddenly have Paolo's body pop up in there, it's like, huh. And it's like, oh, his life signs are really weak, and then it's like, oh, he's dead. And I think Dr. Clark was like, oh, good.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, and Daphne's like, I want a full autopsy. And, okay, this is where I was scratching my head, because I've watched enough of these random TV shows and medical shows. When they do an autopsy, you have like that Y cut,
Right.
and they're just cutting right to the liver. It's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
I thought that was weird. Of like, all right, granted, most of them said that they're not, those kind of doctors or whatever, but I think you learned that in medical school.
Right.
But I don't know, maybe it was better because they cut and they take out the liver, and then Paolo wakes up screaming.
Yeah.
And I would have probably ran from the room screaming at that point.
Yes. Exit stage left.
Right? I'm like, ah! I would have had arms flailing, everything at that point. I'd have been like, gotta go. And then Paolo is either sedated or passes out.
Right.
But then it's like, hey, wait, he's got a liver again. And so what are we going to do? Let's take it out again. What?
Yeah.
What the hell? What is happening?
Right. And she actually goes down and shows Clark that, yeah, look at this. And she cuts his arm and it heals right back up.
Right. So I don't understand how that large incision wasn't starting to knit itself back up.
Right.
And I was like, okay, this is weird and gross. So did they actually sedate Paolo, or does he have no life signs? And so they kind of didn't care. Even though he like wakes up,
Right.
he's not a person.
No. Daphne doesn't care. She's not seeing Paolo. She's seeing something else.
Yes.
She's seeing dollar signs and
Yeah, she is.
possible ways to save her life.
Which we find that out later. But you
Right.
knew it had to be something weird.
Yeah.
Because she is just hardcore crazy about, let's find out what's going on there. So we have Father Dan talking to Val out in the middle of nowhere with the
Right.
girls. After everything you've seen at the church, don't you think maybe having those girls together, not the best idea?
Exactly.
But Dan's trying to say, listen, Abigail was in a pod and things are weird. And Val just refuses.
Sophia was in the pod.
Oh,
and
Sophia, sorry.
She's not herself.
I forgot. I had that mixed up. I don't understand. It was very confusing after everything Val has seen that she still thinks Dan is crazy.
Right. And that her daughter is absolutely fine.
Yeah, probably not.
No.
No.
Especially seeing that she's complaining about her stomach is hurting. And I thought, oh, she's going to upchuck another egg.
Oh, like right there in front of them?
Right. And then that proved to Val. But no, that doesn't happen.
No. But what does Val do? Val takes her to a babysitter, Sophia. Really? First of all, I mean, you didn't see Sophia for a while after all that mess at the church.
Right.
And you're like, no, it's totally cool. Maybe no. And also,
Maybe big no.
right. Also, maybe she's still dealing with the death of her son, so you don't take more kids over there.
Right. You never know what she could do with kids.
Right. And then our foe Abigail decides to talk to Sophia. Now, Abigail seems to be like the one in charge, if you notice, too.
Yes. It sure seemed that way. Well, because she was probably the first one
Oh, that makes more sense.
to be in the pod. So yeah, you would think the one in charge would be the first one to take over a body.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
And suddenly they conspire to kill Father Dan and anyone that he gets to believe him. And Isabel had overheard this. Now, Sophia and the girls were in the room with Val when Val's like, don't leave them alone together. Well,
Right.
okay. They're both right there. That isn't weird to you?
No.
Okay. When she hears them and kind of runs in the other room, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to kill the little girl.
Right.
And then I'm thinking,
And they go after her.
right, they're going to kill her. And she's got both of the girls like inside her. What does this mean? What's going to happen? I was
Right.
freaking out thinking it was going to get really weird, really, really fast. Like, I don't know how it could get weirder, but...
Oh, it does, though.
Because at Lambda, Roman and Father Dan come because he finally got somebody to listen to him. Surprisingly, because they don't exactly have the best relationship right now.
No, they don't. But I think Roman feels like Father Dan has experienced enough with what's going on that, yes, he can actually believe what Dan has been telling.
Right.
Is going.
But when Roman confronts Daphne, I love how she's looking at him like, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, shit, you know. Okay, fine. He's like, I thought we weren't going to lie to each other. And suddenly Daphne's like, no, this is great. We can use these pod people for organ transplants, and it'll be great. To what end? They are not a person. They have no soul. They have killed people, which we've seen as they were walking through the town, everything that had happened. And you even had that glimpse at that little boy's bike, which that was really sad.
Yes, it was.
So she doesn't believe anything. Even when Father Dan was trying with the, you're damning his soul, and all of a sudden she's like, but you just said his soul isn't here.
Right.
It's like, well, that kind of backfired. But I was just really surprised at how hardcore, like, she didn't want to even deal with them because she wanted her own. She wasn't. Yeah. Her own ideas was all that she can see.
Yeah.
So Roman is going to stay there for whatever. And Dr. Clark's like, I'll escort the father out. But he stops and talks to him. He's like, so you really want to, end this? You're going to need this. And gives him his, card key.
Right.
I was surprised.
There you go, Clark. Yes.
I was surprised. I'm also surprised that there haven't been more ghosts there.
Right.
It's like, I think Daphne needs a little bit more of an incentive. Yeah.
Yes.
And not in a good way.
Clark was convinced after getting locked in that little glass room and saw what he got presented with.
Right.
And he says, this is not good.
Now, apparently, with Daphne seeing her mother, she didn't care. So maybe she needs to see some other, hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
But I digress. We have Father Dan, who waits until Daphne starts walking off to go into the room. And I love how the guy questions him, but doesn't question how he got in the room.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I need to perform last rites. And I love it because the guy's like, I think it's a little late for that. And he's like, yeah, we'll make some exceptions. It's fine.
Right.
And he tells him, don't get too close. Now, if you know this, why is his body not strapped down?
Exactly. They should have, as soon as Paulo woke up the first time, they should have restrained the hell out of him.
Right? No, they just got him laying there. It's fine. Totally fine. Oh, big surprise. He jumps up, and Father Dan was going to try to end him, which I don't know if he would have been able to no matter what.
No,
but he had
what he had.
Right, he had grabbed a scalpel. And he stabs him a bunch of times because Paulo, jumps up and grabs one of the staff members in there and, sucks all the life out of her.
Yeah.
But Father Dan did, 5, 6 times?
Yeah.
Nothing. No. Not even a blink.
No. It was like a gnat.
Right. And Paulo takes off running. Naked.
Yeah.
Okay, you're just going to be running naked through the place. All right. I don't know what it is with SyFy and butts lately, but... So he's off and running. Daphne's pissed. She comes in there and yelling at everybody.
Right.
And yelling at Father Dan, who he also takes off running. And she's like, I'm getting my subject back. And stabs the liver a bunch of times.
Right.
And that at least stops because they did figure out that it's all connected. That's a whole other show. But they're connected and they feel pain. And somehow, I don't know if they have figured out at this point, all of the pod people can feel this or just Paulo.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, because they haven't seen the other ones together.
Right.
Okay.
But at least Father Dan saw that, which put that thought in his head.
Mm-hmm. Which, that's good, because that's necessary.
Yeah. He heads out to snoop around Sophia's place, and fortunately he finds Isabel locked inside the chiller.
Now, when you first heard the noise, what did you think? I didn't think Isabel.
No, I didn't either. I thought that was the end of Father Dan right then and there.
Okay, good. So did I. I was like, wait, maybe it's another egg in there.
Right.
Yeah, it was. I did not know what was going to happen. And I'm glad he found her and saved her, because I'm like, oh, what's going to be in there?
Right. And Isabel informs him that Abigail is dead. Her spirit has been hanging around close to Isabel, but whatever's in Abigail's body is not Abigail.
So since she's able to basically channel her sister,
Right.
I'm guessing her sister is like how Roman's mom was, not, the crazy bad spirit.
Right. Yes.
Now, is that because she didn't actually die? She was like pushed out?
I would think so.
See, that's why I was thinking maybe Sophia can come back, but I think if Sophia's spirit was there, she wanted to go to her son so bad it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
So
I think you're right.
Shall we go back to Paulo, who basically took out like every guard in the place?
Right. And of course he heads straight to the bar, find Carla, who is immediately mad at him for disappearing for so long.
Right.
And that she was so worried. But Paulo decides it's time for some hanky-panky, and Carla, strangely enough, goes along with it.
Yeah, I mean, 1 second she's like, oh my gosh, you look horrible. Here, let me get you some water. Sit down, honey. I'm so sorry. What's wrong? What did Lambda do? And then it's like, okay, let's have sex.
Right. On the bar.
Yeah. What? And then all that weird shit, because you see like these weird black veins like crawling up her back as they're having sex, and I'm like, oh my god, what? No.
Yeah, this was not going to end well, because, I mean, he actually when he's doing it, he's taking some of her life force away and putting something in her.
Ew.
Yeah.
Phrasing. Right. And she did seem a little, okay, this is going to sound horrible. She did seem a little worn out afterwards.
Right.
But like you said, taking her life force away. But when Daphne ends up at the bar, she's just sitting there, and it almost looks like she's nursing a hangover at this point.
Right.
And she's like, have you seen Paulo? And she's like, no. Would you tell me if you did? No. And I'm kind of shocked you didn't see anything on the back still.
Right.
Like if this thing is taking seed or whatever. And Daphne's just like, all right. And she's with 2 guards who like go into the kitchen and bathroom and then come out. Like,
right.
And they're going to leave. But I am kind of shocked that Carla didn't just open up, because she grabbed that rifle.
Oh, yeah.
I was waiting for her to just shoot her.
I was hoping she would.
Because we did find out, which I failed to mention, this is when Father Dan, like, at Lambda, when he sees all the dead bodies, he looks at Daphne, he's like, well, now I know why you're so obsessed. You're dying.
Right.
And she doesn't say anything, but she doesn't, so she doesn't deny it.
Right. She does not deny it, so because she doesn't, it must be true. She probably got the same disease that killed her mom.
Which we don't know what it is, but yeah. I mean, we've seen that was pretty awful.
Yes.
So I was just sitting there going, okay, you had this weird encounter. You don't feel right afterwards. Even though you don't trust them, maybe you speak up a little bit, Carla.
Right.
Been like, something's weird. Which I think maybe next episode, Carla will be like, all right, guys, we need to talk.
Yeah.
But let's go with Father Dan. Because after he saves Isabel, which, yay, he ends up going upstairs, which apparently there's a separate entrance, which is probably good for, a morgue. Goes up into the house and sees Sophia trying to basically eat Winston.
Right.
And just knocks her the hell out with that shovel. Well, not the first time. But I love it because he tried to stop Winston earlier, and Winston was all ticked off. Like, Winston thinks that suddenly Sophia's into him.
Right.
Well, yeah, she was, but not for the reason you think.
Exactly.
And after she gets hit the head again, and Winston gets up, he's like looking at Sophia and looking at Father Dan like, holy shit, what happened? Yeah, dumbass, this is what I was trying to save you from earlier.
Right.
You just
go get Isabel and get her to safety.
Right. And suddenly Winston's like, oh, okay. Yeah, you almost died. Oh, sometimes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve, but sometimes men can be dumb. Sometimes women can be dumb. It doesn't matter. But sometimes they write these people really dumb. And Winston is one of those. And, man, I loved it and hated it at the same time. Because Sophia's kind of shitty. Like, you don't know what you've done. He's like, maybe I do. Whack!
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Nobody notices anything happening in this town. Granted, a whole lot of people are dead.
Right.
But nobody notices Father Dan carrying Sophia out.
And all the way to the church.
Right. Maybe he took her car. I don't know. And she's tied up. And I love it because he's sitting there and she is just being so evil.
Yes, she was.
Especially when she's like back to normal Sophia. And for a second he stops.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
thinking that there might be hope. And
exactly. I was like, is that true? And then she like bites herself. I'm like, why did she just bite her shoulder? And first of all, I'm like, I'm trying to do that. Going, can I physically? Like, I don't think I could bite myself.
No.
Like, trying to figure it out. I was like, Kind of like, can you lick your elbow? No, not normally. But trying to figure out, I was like, that's weird. And then she's kind of laughing. And then she does something else that I can't remember what she did exactly, but it like knocked her tooth out.
Right.
And suddenly she's like, they're coming. And she's laughing, thinking she's got, the upper hand. And Paolo and Abigail are showing up at the church. It's like, all of a sudden, Father Dan looks at Sophia, kind of laughs and shakes his head. It's like, I know they're coming. And she's like, oh, shit, no, this is wrong. It's a trap. That's a trap. Yes, it is. And you fell right into it. So he has everybody all tied up down in the basement by where that piece of the meteorite, I guess, is. But I didn't remember seeing it in there. Did you?
No, I didn't either. But it's down there somewhere.
Because I kind of figured if it was there, they would have been looking at it and noticed it and like said something. But
of course, one of the ghosts followed him down there and at least sealed the only way in.
Right, that was Carol, right?
Right.
Ha, Father Dan. Now he's moved that bookcase how many times? And suddenly he can't move it?
Right.
Unless she's holding it on the other side.
Yeah, must be.
And, well, Father Dan had, dumped something on them that was flammable.
Right, yeah. Lighter fluid, yeah. Or gasoline, probably.
And he's about to set him on fire. And I love it because they're mocking him even now. Saying, oh, it's a sin in your religion. You can't do that. And the whole time that he was talking, or letting Sophia, I should say, talk crap while he was just kind of talking back, he was playing with his lighter.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? That just means it's not going to work later.
Exactly. It's not a Bic, man.
Right.
You're going to run out of lighter fluid in that thing. You keep flicking it.
Right. And this is where I got confused, because I haven't been confused so often.
Yeah.
The lighter doesn't work. And so he's in a room with candles. He gets down to pray, and they're laughing at him. And suddenly one of the candles lights.
Right.
And then all of the candles light, and then he lights up. And the whole place goes up. And I'm like, how the hell did he suddenly light up everything with prayer?
Right.
I don't understand. I really don't understand that one.
No. They made it appear that God had a hand in this. But I don't know. Like you, I am totally confused how they ended up just going Johnny Torch on everybody.
And if it was divine intervention, why did Father Dan get smoked? Why didn't he survive it somehow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Roman arrives at the church and he sees the smoke, and again, okay, you have all this smoke and fire happening, and then by the time he gets downstairs, the fire's out. The bookcase
has escaped.
Right. Which you see Paolo and Sophia and their ash and bone and Father Dan. How Abigail got out okay is beyond me. But how did the fire go out? I mean, okay, it's a stone room. I get that part. But there's also a wooden bookcase blocking it. How did that and all the books and everything down there not go up in flames and then suddenly spread?
Right. And that may have, all of this may have had something to do with the meteorite piece that was supposedly down there.
Okay.
Could have been the thing that caused it all.
And
caused the fire to go out so fast, after it just burnt everything to a crisp, but didn't spread.
I still don't understand how Abigail is making it through. That just seems really weird.
Yeah. Just because of her size, maybe. The flame seemed to be up very high, so.
I don't know.
Right.
But, Roman finds Dan's necklace, and his cross. It's like, okay, how do you find that in that room, but you don't see Abigail?
Right.
What?
Yeah. Well, nobody knew Abigail was down there at the time. So they just think it was the three of them.
It's just weird. So,
yeah, very weird.
Of course, then we end an even weirder moment. Because you have Carla waking up the next morning, and she looks down, and she had a WTF moment.
Big one.
Because she's very pregnant.
Yeah, 3rd trimester.
Well, she's really skinny, so I mean, she would show probably pretty early, but still, that was a whole lot of baby bump.
Yeah.
Like a whole lot of baby bump. I'm like, wow. And I think at that moment, I'd have to be like, okay, I guess I'm going to go talk to those scientists after all.
Yes.
Trust them or not, I don't know what's happening, because this ain't normal. It's like, I know you guys were trying to have a baby, but, super speed baby, I don't think is going to happen after one time.
No, this is not normal.
So, yeah, like I said, a lot of WTF moments. Poor Carla had the biggest one. I had questions which we still don't know the answers to, like the fire and Abigail, and so I'm hoping we get more.
Yes.
And since they haven't announced anything, I do get worried how they're going to wrap it. So I guess we wait and see.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
And I have a bad feeling we're going to be left with questions, like a lot of questions, if they don't give us another season of this.
Right.
So who the heck is left in town? I feel like there's like a dozen people left. That's about it.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many more than that.
Other than maybe a few rando scientists over at Lambda.
Right. But yeah, the town people have dwindled in numbers immensely.
Yeah. So maybe that's how it's going to end. There's going to be nobody left.
Yeah.
Who knows?
The Roman will be the last man standing.
Oh, he'd be salty.
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys think? Shoot us an email at sci-fi-talk@fangirlzone.com. You can go to our website, www.fangirlzone.com, and you can always tweet with us and Facebook us, and you can check out Tumblr, and I don't even remember everything else. Oh, our Instagram. I have not had anybody tell me yet if they thought that our Instagram post from Hull House had a ghost in it. Go look and tell me, do you guys think it's the real deal? I mean, I didn't fake anything, but do you think it's a ghost, or do you think it's just light playing off of something?
Right.
I don't know. It's weird.
Optical illusion.
Jane Hull House in Chicago. It's really strange, that picture. Go check it out. So, don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes and all the other podcatchers you're finding us on, because good ratings and reviews help other fans of the show find us. Tell your friends, and we do hope you're enjoying our podcast. And if you have theories of your own, like I said, shoot us an email, or if you'd like to join us on perhaps the finale of the show, so write us, because we'd love to have you guys on too. So, that's everything for me for this episode of Sci-Fi Talk. I'm Sean Fangirl S.
And I'm Steve. It's gotten out of control. Somebody has to do something.
And until next time.